Hi everyone, I welcome you all to this hands-on activity. So here we'll be basically discussing on some of the prompts relating to the week one module. So in the week one modules, we discussed about the types of the prompts. Okay, so here just going to show you an example of the types of the prompts and the output that we can actually get out of it. So first one is the basic difference between bad and the improved prompt. So if I consider a bad prompt here, so I'm considering it here. Okay, tell me about solar energy. Okay, so let us see first what does actually ChatGPT gives us. So it is started giving us the output, and there is a lot of things that is there in the output. It's something kind of a very vague. You cannot summarize it. Okay, it has given you everything that the ChatGPT knows about the solar energy. But what if I give another improvised in prompt? Okay, that is, if I ask the chat GPT, explain solar energy to a 12-year-old using simple language in 3 bullet points. So you can see the output here. So it has given us few diagrams and just 3 points. Your answer is done. So this is the first thing, that is the difference between having a bad prompt and a good prompt with instructions added to it. Okay, now coming to the second one is role prompting. So here I'll be taking the role of just a teacher's role and giving the prompt. So here I have a prompt called as you are a science teacher. Explain gravity to a 10 years old with an example. So now the chat GPT assumes the persona of a teacher and explains it as if it is explaining to a 10-year-old kid. Okay, so this is how actually your prompt gives you a refined output when you add it with a proper instruction and a proper role. Okay, that is the advantage. Now we'll move on to the next one, that is the task plus format control. So here I'm giving an input to the chat GPT to create a table listing the five sources of renewable energy, their cost and advantages. So I'm asking the ChatGPT to give me five sources of renewable energy, their cost and advantage, but I'm giving the instruction to the ChatGPT to give me the output in the form of a table. So it gives me the entire answer in the form of a sorry, in the form of a table. So this is an example for an instructional type of a prompt. Okay, now we will go for a zero shot prompt where you're not going to give any example to the chat GPT. Okay, it's a very plain prompt. Explain blockchain technology in simple terms. This is sometimes used very widely when you don't have any time or any example. Okay, so ChatGPT just explains you about blockchain in a very simple way. Now, one short prompt is giving an example to your question. So here is it. So you give the chat GPT the prompt. Okay, so the water cycle is a process by which water evaporates, condenses into clouds and falls as rain. Now explain carbon cycle in a similar way. So you have given an example. Next you have asking the next question to the chat GPT, and you want the answer to be explained to your previous answer. So it tells us in the same way. Okay, so the carbon cycle, see how precise it is giving. You can match both the answers. So it just copies the example that you have given to the chat GPT. Now is a few short prompt. Okay, you give the chat GPT two examples. Okay, and then you ask the chat GPT to give you answer based on the previous two examples. So first one is H2O means water, CO2 means carbon dioxide. Now explain O3, CH4 and N2. Okay, so this is not actually needed. It's very simple, just three lines. Okay, O3 means ozone, CH4 means methane, N2 means nitrogen gas. Very simple. Now comes the chain of thought. So you ask the chat GPT to solve a particular thing. So you ask the chat GPT solve if car travels, and then tell the chat GPT to think step by step. So chain of thought is basically for the students who are preparing for entry level examination, because it gives you step by step answer so that you can understand the entire process. Okay, so then the next one is the tone and the audience control. You give the input to the chat GPT, the prompt, based on the audience control and what is the type of the audience you have. Based on that, you give your input. So here is a example for it. Okay, so explain photosynthesis to a 6-year-old, college biology student, and a farmer. So you have given the audience. So these are my audience. Based on this audience, you give me the output. Sorry. Okay. So for a 6-year-old, it gives us a different type of answer. For a college student, more elaborate, and for a farmer, in a much different way, because farmer cannot understand much of a technical content. Okay. So next one is evaluating and refining your prompt. Okay. So first you give a weak prompt, then ask for improvement, then again use suggestions to rewrite your answer. So explain machine learning. Okay. So I give the prompt as explain machine learning to the chat GPT. So it has given me lots and lots of data. So now what I ask the chat GPT is for refinement. Okay. So how can you improve your previous answer? Suggest refinement. Okay. So it is telling me to add the audience level. So that is what we did in the previous case. Include a simple real world analogy like teaching a child, okay, and mention the main type of machine learning. What is the type of the machine learning you want? So this is how, based on now this, you can refine your answer or the next level, next prompt. Okay. So the final one is creating your first prompt journal. So based on this, you can create your prompt journal. Prompt journal basically helps you a lot, because once you have created a prompt journal, while you carry out your day-to-day task, you need not worry again and again to write the prompts and to refine it, because you already have a set of the refined and then uh, set of the prompts which are very much accurate for you to provide your output for day-to-day tasks. So that is how your prompt journal helps you. So I do also have a prompt journal. So based on this week one content, just what I showed you, you try to prepare your prompt journal with this and try to practice more and more prompt. The more and more prompt you practice, you will learn better. So it is all about practicing. If you practice more and more prompt, you will definitely become much better in it. Now, as this is said, okay, so I have another set of prompt. So these are another a few set of prompt, around 10 different types of prompt, okay, which I think I have not explained in my previous video. Sorry. So the first one is a race prompt. Okay, so R stands for role. Okay, A stands for action, C for context, and E for explanation. Now, this race prompt is basically used for research purposes. So that is why an example prompt is also there. So I'm telling the chat GPT, like, you are a journal reviewer, review the following research abstract, that is the action it has to do, in the context of renewable energy forecasting research. Provide the detailed strength, weakness, and suggestion for the improvement. So this is the raise prompt. So you give the role to the chat GPT, you give it an action, the final context, and the explanation. And the second type of prompt is a care prompt. It is for student engagement in the online classes. Okay, so the C stands for context. Sorry. Okay, so C stands for context, A for action, R for result, and E for example. So this is mainly used for the student by the academicians who are into student engagement in online classes. So the example prompt is engineering students show low engagement in online labs. Propose instructional strategies to improve engagement. Results should be higher attendance and interaction. Example include one real world university case. Okay, so that is the care prompt. APE prompt is AI adoption survey. Example, that is the topic. So here what we have done is A stands for action. A stands for action. Okay, and P is the purpose and E is the execution. So A is to design a questionnaire. Purpose is to assess faculty adoption of AI teaching tools. Execution is provide 10 10 Likert scale survey questions. Okay, so that is the execution. That is where you use a prompt. Next one is the create prompt, that is mainly used for educational research hypothesis. That is the topic that we have taken for the prompt. Okay, so C stands for character. This is quite lengthy. C stands for character, R for request, E for example, A for adjustment, T for basically type, and E is mainly extras. Okay, so you give a character that act as an education researcher, and what is the request? Propose research hypothesis on AI assisted learning. Provide three hypotheses. Adjustment, keep them measurable and testable, and type quantitative. What is the type of that you want to measure? And then finally include dependent and independent variables. So that is the create prompt. The fifth one is the tag prompt. So here we have taken example on literature review preparation. So the task is to analyze the given research paper. That is the task. T stands for task. A is the action. Okay, extract key findings, methods, and limitations. G is the goal. So produce a 200 word structured literature review summary. So that is where you can use the tag prompt, and the second one is creo prompt. Okay, so identifying research gaps. So the previous one and this one is mainly helpful for the research people. So here again, C stands for context, limited empirical studies on AI in assessment systems. What is the request? Identify major research gaps. And E stands for explanation, justify why each is a gap. Okay, and then the O stands for the outcome. Formulate three clear research questions that you can sum that into the research studies. Okay, and finally, the seventh one is the rise prompt. This also here we have taken a prompt on the research area. So the last or the previous few prompts are very much useful for the research areas. Okay, so R is standing for the role, act as a PhD supervisor. I is for the input, topic on solar power forecasting using, that is the topic. Okay, machine learning. And S stands for step, guide the refinement process step by step. Okay, execution, provide three finalized research objectives. The next one is the pain prompt. Okay, pain in the sense not the real pain. So here we have taken a low survey response rate. So P is the problem, very low response rate in the faculty feedback survey. That is actually the problem. So here you need action, recommend corrective actions. So how can I improve the faculty feedback survey? I stands for the information, that is 250 faculty members and only 40 responses. The next step, suggest three actionable strategies. And the ninth one is the coast prompt, where C stands for the context. Okay, O is objective. So growing use of AI tools in universities. Objective, examine academic and administrative benefits. Action, summarize recent case studies. S stands for scenario. Indian engineering institution is the scenario. T is the task. Okay, write a 500 word analytical report. And the last one is the rows of. So here we have taken as the AI integrated curriculum design. Okay, so R stands for role. So here you're telling the chat GPT to act as a curriculum designer. Okay, objective, O stands for the objective. Develop an AI integrated syllabus. S is the scenario. Postgraduate engineering program. That for that you need really need to prepare. That is the scenario. E stands for expected solution, a 5 unit syllabus you wanted. Okay, and S stands for the like S is the steps, define learning outcomes for each unit. Okay, so these are the 10 different types of prompts. Okay, this is basically the framework. Okay, so whatever we studied earlier, that there will be types of prompts. These are the types of the from in terms of the framework. So each word is defined for a particular task. Okay, so this will also be very much helpful for you. So I actually wanted to include this. These are really very helpful. So if you note this down anywhere, maybe while you're typing your prompt, you can directly give it. It gives you a very precise answer. I have tried this. Okay, so that would be really very much helpful rather than searching here and there. Okay, so this is very much helpful. So I just came across this and I thought of sharing with everyone. So I hope this hands-on video would have helped all of you. So thank you all. This is Atya Balaji signing off. Okay, so I've made a very raw video. Okay, I don't have any animations or much clarity into the video, voice modulation or anything. This is just a very raw video. I'm just sharing what I've learned. Okay, and it's a very simple and practical video. So whoever watches this, it might be surely helpful for them. There are tons of videos on YouTube with lots of good animation, better clarity, better audio pitch. So I'm here to just make a raw video of whatever I've learned and share it. I don't know for how many people it's going to be useful. If, even if it's useful for one person, I consider myself very much happy because someone has been benefited from my videos. Okay, so kindly go through these different prompts. Okay, so this will be very much helpful for you. If possible, I'll just provide a link where you can download these materials also. Okay, thank you once again. Please do take care.